Merry Christmas, Eagle Heights family. I want to thank you for joining me this Christmas morning as I just share a little bit of a devotion with you. I want to look at the scripture found in Luke 2 1 through 7, and it reads, "And it came to pass in those days that a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. This census first took place while under Quirinius, who was governing Syria. So all went to be registered, everyone to his own city. Joseph also went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea and the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and the lineage of David, to be registered with Mary, his betrothed wife, who was with child. So it was that while they were there, the days were completed for her to be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger because there was no room for them in the inn." I came across an article that I found very fascinating. In fact, it is titled "The Fascinating Anatomy of the Presidential Motorcade." Let me read that to you. When the President of the United States travels by car, the presidential motorcade is both the safest and the riskiest convoy on the planet. This globe-trotting fleet of vehicles is basically a rolling armored White House, complete with its own response force, communications office, press corps, and medical facilities. All these vehicles are moved via USAF heavy transports, such as C-17s, and those flights come at a steep cost. The presidential motorcade consists of a wide variety of vehicles. Generally, the presidential motorcade is made up of the following components: route car and pilot car, which travel ahead of the motorcade, checking the route and providing guidance. Sweepers, consisting of motorcycles and patrol cars clearing the way. The presidential limousine. This very heavy Cadillac is really an extremely survivable armored car. The Beast, as it is called, is outfitted with top-level ballistic armoring, night vision infrared driving systems, a sealed cabin with an independent air supply capable of enduring a nuclear, biological, chemical attack, and even a supply of the president's blood. All of this is in addition to a state-of-the-art communications system. Identical limousines. At least one identical car always accompanies it, and sometimes many more. These cars are used as a backup as well as serving as decoys. Then there are additional vehicles. Following the motorcade is the security detail SUV, filled with heavily armed agents. There is an electronic countermeasures vehicle, so that if a threat is detected, smoke, chaff, and targeting jamming could disrupt an attack. Then there is the press van, an ambulance in case there is an accident or attack, and helicopters overhead to provide overwatch. All the technology that goes into protecting the president is amazing, and so is the price tag. It is estimated that the White House spends $350 million a year on the president's transport. Just one trip costs $2,614 each and every minute to transport the leader of the free world. I thought about that as I read it. And on Christmas Day, when the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, when he came to earth, there was no heavily armed security detail, no high-tech defensive systems, medical personnel. There was no press who was moving with them with flashing cameras. And be sure that no one wanted to interview his parents. But I'll tell you what really happened. In his arrival, the only ones who actually witnessed the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords coming to earth was his parents, Mary and Joseph, and a few humble shepherds. Yet as you and I enjoy our Christmas and celebrate the birth of our King, there are some thoughts that I know live in your heart as well as in mine. While Jesus' birth was not expensive, and in fact it was void of fanfare, it was the costliest trip in history. For 2 Corinthians 8 and 9 tells us that though he was rich, yet for our sakes he became poor, that through his poverty we might be rich. Philippians 2:6-7 tells us that he emptied himself and he took on the form of a servant. And then we find in Luke 2:7 that he left the glory and the worship of heaven to be born in a stable. When I think about those things, it brings me back to the wonder of Christmas. The wonder of why in the world would a holy God who created the whole universe come down to earth in the form of a man to save sinful man, giving up glory and splendor and worship. The answer remains the same as it was 2,000 plus years ago. It still rings true, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. That phrase constantly stays with me, that God so loved the world that he gave. He gave up his mighty throne and glory, and as Andre Crouch says, he became a babe lying in a manger in order to bring to us redemption story. This Christmas evening, I pray that the sky is lit though it's dark, so you can see stars, and you'll be reminded of one star in particular that the wise men followed. And as you zero in on that one star, I want you to look up toward heaven, and I want you to say, "Merry Christmas, Jesus. Thank you for sparing no expense for our great salvation." God bless you, and once again, I wish you a Merry Christmas.